Hello and welcome to Our Time. Thank you for joining us.
And great to have your company. Now, on this episode, we're going to find out about remortgaging a house. We're going to find out about our teeth as we grow older.
But this is
and we have a special guest singing, Michael Kermie.
Yeah, okay, but we have, this is a very special program for you because it's your 200th program.
It is, and
It
all.
is.
Goodness me.
I had mine already.
You have already had yours. I wasn't here at the beginning and neither were you, but it's true. 200 shows ago, I started hosting with you.
You did, because Robin Ronfeld was the original host.
Yes.
And we interviewed you and, well, shall we see? Welcome, Malcolm.
Hello, Janice. Hello.
I need a drink of water after that. I got parched. No, it's...
And I'm also the owner and managing director of Mighty Good Entertainment.
And what else?
well, there's lots of things on the boil, as they say.
Oh,
But it's lovely to be here. Thank you so much for asking.
Great to have you on the program.
But it's lovely to be with you again, because we've actually shared so much time in our lives together, and I've just worked it out.
Don't.
Go on, let me say it. This program is supposed to be for people over 50.
Yeah, it's true.
And what's it like to be 50? Because I'll be that in 5 years' time.
So will I. On a good note, I would like to say that Malcolm has accepted to co-host with me. So welcome, Malcolm. Come and join me.
Oh, thank you. It's so lovely to be working with you again.
Yes,
but I'm only going to accept it on one condition.
Oh, what?
That I can have the thin lens on the camera.
It's mine.
No, and I'll have to stand this side.
No. Oh,
because
okay.
that's my best side.
I was bossing you around then.
It hasn't stopped. But we've got other things to look at too, because we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
But we just thought we'd show a few things of our history together.
Okay.
So we did know each other when we started. We were very young.
And in fact, I remember the show. It was "I Love You, Humphrey B. Bear."
There you go. And look at this. You putting on your makeup, because what did you?
Sure, that's me. Always don't wear makeup like that. Heavens.
Who did you play?
Oh gosh, I was 22 years old, I think, and you can see my body shape hasn't changed at all over the last 40 years. I was a Jack in the Box in the first scene, I think, and I wore a box over my whole body apart from the head poking out. And you were a tin soldier.
I was, It was called "I Love You, Humphrey B. Bear."
Yeah, it was. And this was shot for the Humphrey program, which I wasn't doing then, and that's me as the king of Bubble Land, I think it was. And the story was that Humphrey went off to these different lands or whatever. A story that was told many times. There's Wendy Patching, who was Winky Dink, and that was Deb. I'm the clown there as well.
Okay.
I remember I had to change my makeup 8 times a day, and white clown makeup is really so hard to get on and off. And we did a couple of shows a day, and then we went to Perth with the show, and then we went to Melbourne with the show. I wish I could remember what year this was.
1973 or 4.
Good gracious.
I think it was.
This is archive stuff. Goodness me. Well, why isn't there something of you in this?
I am right at the end.
Really?
Tin soldier.
Okay.
I didn't have to change though. I'm right on the far right at the front there. I am.
There you are. Just came in the picture. Goodness me.
Yeah.
How brilliant.
It was fun. I loved doing that.
That was. Oh, what a lovely thing to see on your 200th episode.
There you go.
How wonderful. Well, let's find out now about what happens when you think maybe I should get a bit of money in the jackpot somewhere and I need to remortgage my house. Here's Ken and John Grokey.
John Grokey, our financial planner, is back with us, looking at the world of hopefully saving some money and living a better life. John, welcome.
Thank you.
Remortgaging a loan. I gather we're talking home loans predominantly here.
Yes, it's an area that people need to be acutely aware of, and finding the best deal in this environment is important because it can actually save money.
When do you look at refinancing your mortgage?
If people are on a fixed rate at the moment, at the end of that fixed rate, it's a great time to do it. Or if people feel that the rate that they're paying could be bettered, it's worthwhile speaking to a skilled mortgage and finance broker.
Okay, once you're locked in and you've signed, that remains at that rate, does it, if you say it's a fixed rate?
If it's a fixed rate, and interestingly, with rates being at historic lows, people might choose to fix part of their borrowing because they've got a rate that they probably won't see for a while.
Okay, so how long do you normally lock in these loans for?
Rates can be locked in for 1 3 to 5 years, depending on what people's objectives are.
Well, you're given the option of fixed rate or variables. What do you do?
I think probably the sitting on the fence person would have half fixed and half variable.
Oh,
so they have flexibility to pay off their loan and ensure that part of their loan remains at a fixed cost for a period of time.
Yeah, but as we've said in a previous segment, if interest rates stay at remarkably low rates, would you be better off having just fixed rate across the board?
That always carries a bit of risk, because if rates eventually rise at some point and you then have a significant advantage, but if rates actually go lower, as we said in that segment they might, then you're actually locking into a higher rate than you needed to.
Who do you talk with? Somebody outside of the bank or somebody in the bank?
I think banks can be helpful, but I would suggest that a skilled mortgage and finance broker who deals across a number of institutions is the best person to speak with.
And how do they regulate their fees?
Their fees will generally be paid by the financial institution that the loan is being set with, so the fee is not paid directly by the consumer.
So you can do obviously pretty well for yourself.
Yes, that's right.
Well,
that's right.
We hope that's right, John. Do you have a mortgage?
Yes, no, I do. Yes, I do.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
God, I thought you would have been a multi-millionaire ready to retire. Fixed or?
It's interesting. The predominant part of the debt that I have is business debt, so a good part of that is fixed.
Thank you for bearing your soul with us.
It's fine.
John Grokey, and we've been talking financial planning and hopefully saving some money.
It's our great pleasure to welcome back our dentist friend, John Weatherall.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, I'm glad you came back, John, because there was so much more we wanted to ask you, didn't we?
We did.
And they were
So
all your
thank you.
questions. Off you go.
Really?
How often?
Terrible
No.
teeth. She's old, so her teeth are rotten.
Oh, really?
Is that what happens to people as they age, John?
No, of course not. Her teeth are perfect.
I do look after my teeth. I go every 6 months and have my...
And should
Very
people
good.
continue to do that into their old age?
Yes, I think if you have a good rapport with your dentist, as most people hopefully have, then and you don't have a decay problem and your gums are in good nick, well, once a year is okay, but it's not a bad idea once every 6 months either.
So what actually happens to our teeth as we age?
Well, the fact that the dentine, the enamel, all those things are static. Once they're formed, they don't change other than the teeth get slightly darker as the new tooth structure forms inside the nerve of the tooth. So if we don't eat too many sweet things and we clean our teeth well, then those hard structures will stay the same.
Yep.
Now the gums are another factor where we have slight eruption, because ancient man used to wear his teeth down, and so they would have to gradually erupt like that.
Well, they keep growing. Erupt
Exactly.
means grow.
Yeah,
Continue
coming
to grow.
up, that's
Yep.
right. And so with that, the gum recedes slightly, and then the roots of the teeth may be exposed. And that's
Right.
where people get sensitivity and so
Yeah.
forth.
And your gums can reduce too if there's...
If you've got gum disease, yeah,
Right.
and that's called periodontal disease, where you've got inflamed gums, and that's can be arrested with good oral hygiene, interdental brushes, dental floss, those sorts of things.
And is it really important to use dental floss every day?
Yes, it is, because it's impossible to get into that little bifurcation between the teeth, and your toothbrushing just won't be
No,
adequate.
it doesn't work.
Even with an electric toothbrush?
Yeah, I
Because
use
then
electric, but
it's
I
still-
find
It still won't get in there because it's a very, very narrow slot. And as we may have said in the last program, some bacteria have 3 generations in a day. So they can have quite a party.
The dirty devils. The dirty
Can you
devils.
imagine having 3 Malcolms in a day?
Oh, long.
How exciting would that be? On my 200th episode, John. You're privileged to be. Do you want to touch me now?
But yeah, so if you don't get in there, then the bacteria change from being aerobic, that means have oxygen, to anaerobic, and that's the one that gives you the taste, the smell, and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So that's why getting between your teeth is so important.
So our parents' generation, I remember, years ago, people in my parents' generation talking about having all their teeth out before they got married.
Yes.
So they could have lovely teeth at the wedding for the photos.
Yes.
Never considered keeping your own teeth. And then as they grew older, their gums, I guess, shrank a bit.
Exactly.
And the teeth kept falling out. They were talking. I love that, to see the teeth going
Yes.
and dropping out and trying to push it back.
That's
I remember
right.
because my parents came out to Australia when I was 13, and I do remember my mother having all her teeth out before we came to Australia. I
Because they
don't know
didn't have
why.
dentistry in Australia.
Oh,
Yes.
no, I don't know what she was thinking.
Probably that.
Yeah, well, it is a thing of the past, and we don't see nearly as many people now for full upper and lower dentures. Partial dentures are still there, but yeah, the bone just recedes. It's an awful situation.
So one of the things we do see, particularly in like the Hollywood movie star type people.
Yes.
In fact, I just saw a film with Robert Redford in it, and Robert had these fabulous white teeth.
Yes.
And they just look so unnatural.
Exactly.
So as we get a bit, and he's craggy. His face is craggy. So with these white teeth that are perfect with a craggy face,
It's
they
not a
just
good
don't
look.
quite go together.
But
So
yeah, but the bleaching is very popular these days.
Yeah, it is.
Exactly.
So do you
And,
recommend bleaching or
no,
not?
I don't.
No.
I really don't. I mean, there are circumstances where you know, you've got a non-vital tooth, you've had a hit and the tooth's darker. Well, changing that colour is
To
probably a good
blend
idea.
in with the
yeah.
rest.
But naturally, your teeth get darker, as I said, because they get thicker. And having been a dentist for many years, I've done a crown for people with their front teeth. They look perfect. In 20 years' time, it's wrong.
they're too
Because
white.
their remaining teeth, their natural
Gone
teeth are darker. And so it's wise not to go down that path if you can avoid it.
So if we move on to the logical conclusion that we're living older than we used to live,
Yes.
and many people are ending up with things like dementia or other issues, or
Yes.
Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
or they're in a home.
Yes.
And whilst people are trying their very best to look after, I guess, our oldies when they're in that sort of care, where does dental hygiene come into their lives?
Well, it's a major problem, and having seen some of my patients transpose into that arena,
Don't look at me when you say that, just yet.
it's really, really scary, because the facilities for the nursing homes to maintain good oral health isn't good, and diet isn't good. And I've had experience with my mother who had to go to one of those. She had perfectly good teeth, and within a year she was having decay.
And she was 94.
No, she was in her 70s, but my my grandmother and
Your
others, they didn't ever go into the nursing home. They had their natural teeth and they were fine.
So I guess a few tips to look for, because like, what do you look for if you've got something wrong? You may not have tooth decay, or somebody in that position may not know that they've got a problem.
That's right.
So how do you identify that their teeth need, or their gums need a bit of proper
Well, the only
hygiene?
way is for someone to be in that facility to have a look at them, and that's not a regular thing.
Okay.
So
Because
it's
doctors come in to look after the body, but
That's
not
right.
necessarily.
The teeth.
no, and so it's really going to be a major problem in the future.
As we all age, as this generation ages,
Exactly.
and
Because we've
needs
got
that
our
sort of
teeth.
care. It's
Exactly.
now perhaps seniors' homes need to take on a dental program as well. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
And it's very, very difficult. And the diet and the way people are looked after, it's a major
It
problem.
might be an idea to get someone in to talk about that then.
Yeah, it would.
You know, we've had people talking about care in
if
nursing
you're
homes.
in a home, or if you're servicing a home, we'd love to talk to you. Leave us a message on Facebook, or how we can contact you. That'd be a really great segment to know a bit more about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So John, as we age, give us your 3 best tips.
Well, the main thing is function and aesthetics. And if your teeth, you're not worried about the way they look and they function well and you have regular checkups, then just leave it, you know, because there's no point in spending buckets of money on having fancy crowns and all sorts of things.
I guess
if
unless you're in a modelling business or a business where that makes a difference.
But we've just said that doesn't necessarily look good either.
Well, it doesn't. No.
These people have spent buckets of money.
Best.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, Richard Attenborough is a classic example. There's this lovely man on television, hasn't had a thing done with his teeth, but he looks great.
Yeah, he looks great.
Exactly.
John, thanks for that. Thanks for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have this sort of advice just to keep us aware.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be back in a moment with entertainer Michael Kermie. Welcome back.
Yes. And front. And
Thank you. Janice doing jokes. Heavens.
well, I try.
We are absolutely delighted to welcome entertainer extraordinaire Michael Kermie to our time. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Now, Michael, I know that we said sort of, you know, come nicely dressed, but have you gone too far?
Do you know what? To be honest, I just didn't take the suit off after the show.
Oh, okay. And the show would be the fact that you're about to come back to Adelaide to do a show in the Cab Fringe.
Absolutely.
And you may well be doing it all around Australia. Who knows what the future holds?
Exactly. If they'll take me, if they'll have me, I'll do it. Yeah.
But before we talk about the show you've been doing, which is just in a nutshell, you haven't seen it, have you?
No, not
In a
yet.
nutshell, maybe you should explain it.
Yeah, in a nutshell, it pays tribute to the Rat Pack. So I'm a cabaret crooner and I tell personal anecdotes about myself with the style of comedy in the way the Rat Pack would. So it's very loose and it's very an all-round feel-good show.
Do you have a glass of whiskey in your hand?
It's one thing I haven't put in yet.
Who used to do that?
Oh,
Was
they
that
used to drink all the
Dean
time.
Martin used to
used
do
to
that,
have
and
that.
Frank Sinatra used to do that a lot.
But I think
Yeah.
they were more props than real things because
Correct.
I think they just felt they had to hang on to something if they
Something.
didn't have a microphone. And these days when you don't really need a micro, you know, you can
No.
have what we've got on here.
That's
You
it.
don't really need all that. But Michael, your background is an interesting background because I guess your family probably found it a bit unusual that you'd want to become an entertainer.
Yeah, well, I was very lucky. The parents were very supportive, quite contrary to how I portray everybody in the show. But it was initially the grandparents did find it a bit of a shock, you know, somewhat. But I was very fortunate that my parents actually drove it and continued to support it. So I was very lucky in that way to change the old thinking, you know, the old Greeks. So yeah.
You don't play the piano accordion as well, do you? Just to fit the
No,
whole
no,
picture?
I would love to. Triple threat is enough. I haven't added the fourth yet. You know, sing,
that's
dance,
all-
and act, and that's
Okay, yeah.
You're only young, there's plenty of time.
There is.
right.
Yes, it's true. You don't know what you're going to pick up in life because
Exactly.
of something you're in, a show you're in, you learn to do something.
Exactly. Well, it's funny because working with musicians, because I like to have live musicians, especially because crooning is so
What, as
raw.
opposed to dead ones?
Well, yeah, well, it wasn't that. It was more, you know, the sub shows, they do backing tracks, you know,
Yeah.
to cover a lot of the parts, and I like it better raw. But just touching on that, yeah, it is. You don't know where you're going to go with it. Just working with musicians has really put me back into appreciation for music. So.
But the nice thing with the show with you, though, is there's a bit of rapport between you and the musicians
Correct.
that makes everybody part of the show.
so they become
It's
involved
not
as
them
well.
back there
That's
playing the
great.
music and me down the front singing.
Yes.
No.
And it's the way that, in fact, the Rat Pack worked with everybody.
Exactly.
They included everybody, and it's important to get your story across to the audience as well. So you actually came to the uni here, didn't you?
I did.
I've only just discovered
Yeah,
that.
no, I know. I walked in with the film crew, and so it's all good. No, yeah, I studied here, graduated in 2007, so yeah, a few years ago now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just, if you don't know, we actually record this in UniSA, in the big campus of UniSA, this program, if you watch the credits at the end. Michael, what did you do here?
I did a Bachelor of Media Arts, so I
Right.
touched on film and production.
Yep.
I also did performing arts as a minor and media in general, so a bit of
So,
everything.
well,
touched on
that's a good
everything.
thing, though. People don't always realise people can be qualified in the performing arts.
Absolutely.
So how did it really start, the singing? Where did you start performing?
As a singer, it was through musicals, a musical theatre.
at school, at uni?
Yeah,
afterwards?
no, originally at school, back in high school, and actually primary school for that matter. But the singing I started to take a lot more seriously probably in the last 4 years.
Okay.
I started to
And
really
I
focus
know
on
that
it.
one of the roles you played was Gomez.
Yes.
That a lot of people remember you for, and you had a little ziff
right.
moustache. Is that the right name for it?
I don't know. All I know is I used to groom that thing like you wouldn't believe. I had it down to a T. I had clippers particularly for the moustache. So
Oh, okay.
I had a
That's taking
technique
it
and
one
everything.
step too far.
Oh, absolutely.
But we should say Gomez is the character in, of course.
The Addams Family.
Yes.
Yeah, the
So
Addams
you're
Family
Mr.
musical,
Addams.
correct. So I was Mr. Addams. Youngest male to ever do that role, so it was quite a challenge, especially taking on Raul Julia and, you know, all the
So
old
that was here in
actors.
Adelaide?
So that was in Adelaide, so we had a 4-week season, which was
Fantastic,
fantastic at the Arts and the Shedley Theatre
Lovely.
as well. So it was
Good old
great.
theatres there.
And what do you want to do when you grow up?
Well, I'm tall enough, but as you'll find out in a moment. But I just want to be performing. I really want to make entertainment my business now. I've fallen in love with it again, so much so that I've been driven to write and create my own work so that I can just do this.
But you're now living
Great.
in Sydney, so the world's your oyster in many ways.
That's right. So yeah, just trying to open the doors as much as I can. Obviously being able to take shows there would be fantastic. They've got a fantastic RSL scene, which is just perfect for this style of entertainment. So
That
it's
worked
great.
really well for you.
So you're going to
Fantastic.
sing for us in a tick. What are you going to sing?
I've selected "Come Fly with Me" for you.
Oh, I know that one.
It's
You know that
great.
one?
Do that one with you?
Of course you can.
We'll sit in the sidelines
course
and
you can.
applaud at the end.
Yeah.
Michael, I'm so glad you could come
a pleasure.
and visit with us. But so you'll be in Adelaide at the Cabaret Fringe,
Correct.
which is, for those people interstate, the Fringe Festival in South Australia is quite large, but there's the Cabaret Festival itself, but then there's the Fringe, which is a growing thing at the moment.
What
like
is your show actually called?
It's called "Sway My Way."
There you
So,
go.
There you
Sway
go.
My way.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for
So
it.
we'll look forward to seeing you then,
Pleasure.
and we'll be back after the break, and you can look forward to seeing Michael singing.
Come Fly with Me.
That's the one. Welcome back.
Yes.
And before Michael performs, Janice,
Yes,
I've just
I
been
know, I
doing
know.
a few little things.
I
'cause
know
it's-
you have, but we have a special surprise for you because it's your 200th episode.
Yes.
Everybody now? For he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for
Oh.
he's a jolly good
Oh,
fellow.
thank you.
And so say all of us.
Oh my
Hip, hip,
goodness,
hooray!
thank you very much.
Hooray!
Oh, that is absolutely
Hooray!
a surprise.
There
Thank
you
you
go.
so much.
Don't eat it all at once.
Well, I won't.
I'll hold it for you.
Oh, will you? Thank you so much. We can pop it down there. Oh, it's heavy, isn't it?
It's
Oh,
all that
God.
chocolate.
I was fat in the first episode. I'm going to be fat in the next one.
Very nice.
Well, thank you for that. That really is a surprise. But I've got a little surprise for you.
Yes. Oh,
I've got pictures of you when you were very young as well.
Okay.
In your underwear. Have a look at this. Look at this.
oh my goodness me.
Yes.
Where
How
did you
old were you
find
then?
that? 20?
That's us together.
18? 19?
I think this was the first show we got married in.
Oh, maybe.
And why wouldn't you? I mean, I ask you, look at that.
Oh, thank you.
Weren't you lovely?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I think.
No, it's just great to
my
have old shots like
goodness.
that because you just never know when they're going to come in useful.
know,
Thank
thanks
you for
for
the
that.
cake. Thank you for the memories. And now here's Michael Kermie to perform for us.
If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. So come fly with me, let's fly away. Come fly with me, let's float down to Peru. In Llama Land, there's a one-man band that'll toot his flute for you. So come fly with me, let's take off in the blue. Once I get you up there where the air is rarefied, we'll just glide starry-eyed. Once I get you up there, I'll be holding you so near. You may hear the angels cheer because we're together. Weather-wise, it's such a lovely day. You just say the words and we'll beat those birds down to Acapulco Bay. And it's perfect for a flying honeymoon, they say. So come fly with me, let's fly away. Once I get you up there where the air is rarefied, we'll just glide starry-eyed. Once I get you up there, I'll be holding you so near. You may hear the angels cheer because we're together. Weather-wise, it's such a lovely day. You just say the words and we'll beat those birds down to Acapulco Bay. And it's perfect for a flying honeymoon, they say. So come fly with me, let's fly, let's fly. Pack up, let's fly away.